So I have a story time to do, but first I want to update this story time. This is the story time of CRoach and his community peen and how he got sick and now he is finna be homeless. So I was telling y'all about this woman. She's been with this man for 10 years and she's currently detoxing from him. They had basically broken up. She gave him a 4-page letter on Christmas, and he basically said he ain't in love with her like that. He ain't feeling her like that. So right now she's in a place where she is detoxing. She is trying to sort out her feelings, but it's a process, y'all. And I sometimes I take y'all through the process with these people. She's letting me know that she just got off the phone with her twin. She's talking through things. She says, my barber pulled up on me today because I missed my appointment 2 weeks ago. He said, you two MF and fine and a go-getter. And he shot his shot. And I said, now ain't the time. So she had to pull back her. And it's not a good idea to get into a relationship when you are not done healing. It's just not a good plan. Her former dude was community peen. Now he's sick. A lot of stuff to sort through. Don't get involved. But when she sent me this message, it was kind of concerning. She said he had surgery yesterday. The breathing tube is out and he has a trach. I'll go by after work if I feel like it. That's when I was like, hold. Are you sure you want to do that? I told her, I hope you stay away. I said, I know it's hard, but you are detoxing. Adding him back while you are still healing is a bad idea. Have you told your therapist you want to go up there? She says, yes, I told her. She said it's understandable and that I still care and asked me to set clear boundaries and to keep stating that we are not together or getting back together. She said that the therapist told her she could see him twice a week. And she also said that she cleared everything of his from her bedroom and she's changing her art and she bought a new comforter set. I will keep y'all updated on how this woman is doing. I hope that she stays away from him. Now I want to segue into my newest story. I told y'all pests come in all kind of varieties, culture, country of origin. Some are educated, some are not. Some have money, some do not. I want y'all to meet Paul the Pest. I'm doing this story because I want y'all to get in the habit of blocking fast and walking away because this woman allowed this to go on just a little bit too long, but she has learned from it. She sent me this story time and we're going to remind us all to block quicker. She says, when I was in college, I met this guy, Paul, on one of those commuter buses on my way home. We discovered he was from the same city I was going to and from the same college I was. I thought he was cute, and we sat together and talked the whole 50 minutes. He asked for my phone number, and I gave it to him, which I never give it out like that. He never called. But 3 weeks later, he runs up to me in the halls at school and asks for my number again because he lost it. I gave it to him again, writing it in his planner. These were the flip phone days. He never called. And then it was the end of the term. She says, anyways, come the fall, he would still ask for me again, but at that point, I thought he was playing some sort of game. When I would run into him, he would make me feel like I was crazy. She says, I wish I had just stuck to my guns and not let him into my life. But 4 years later, when I was finishing the last year of the second program, this was 2009 crash happened right when I finished the first program, and I was able to transfer into a related program and have both diplomas. He ended up in two of my classes because he was a year ahead of me and was missing the two classes. She said, sorry, she needed a bit of time to explain for context before I get up to the effed up part of the story. Now, we have already seen some effed up stuff because he is asking for her number and playing games, but it does get a little bit worse. She says, anyway, we ended up having a pregnancy scare after the one and only time we hooked up close to the end of the school year. Without talking to me about how I felt about the situation, he starts demanding I have a smorgasbord. That he thought I was trying to force him into being a dad. I took the morning after pill, which he promised to pay half, which he never did. He was blowing up my phone for 2 weeks until my period showed up, rotating between you have to get a smorgasbord and I don't even know you and I need to know everything about you. And I'm like, dude, can we please just stop doing this? We still have plenty of steps to take, and I can't hurry my period up. Oh, anyway, around the time my period comes, I'm feeling terrible. My stomach is hurting, and I'm feeling nauseous. I was in a lot of discomfort, and I told him I wasn't feeling well as my period came. He took it that me feeling good as I was really pregnant. Anyways, he insists that we meet up after my period comes. But I hadn't been able to keep anything down, and I was feeling terrible and didn't want to be going for food and drinks, but he wouldn't leave me alone until I agreed. So I agreed to go on a walk because he said he wanted to talk. It's after 8, and at that time it is dark out. And he tells me he wants me to take a pregnancy test, and I told him I'm not taking the test now. My period has is here, and I have not been able to keep anything down all day. He gave me the choice. Then I either needed to show him my dirty rag I was wearing, or he was going to tell my parents because, according to him, I'm not being rational. He just got out of a 10-year relationship, and he didn't want to be a dad. I didn't want him to violate my privacy to my parents. I was 25 at the time, he was 24. So he forced me into taking off my underwear behind a bush. We were in a park area, so he can inspect it under a lamp. I felt so violated. I felt violated reading that for her. Okay, she says he had the audacity to say, now we can go back to normal. I asked him, what kind of normal do you think we can go back to? And then I asked him about all the times he asked for my number and he flirted with me without telling me he had a girlfriend. He tells me he was just flirting. During this whole time, he was acting like his whole life was going to change when mine would have been affected more. If he had talked to me like a normal human being rather than barking demands and taking up the whole damn oxygen in the situation, he would have known I didn't want to be pregnant 1 month before I graduated and looking for a position to start my career. But I didn't hear from him after that night. He was satisfied that I wasn't pregnant, didn't care that I wasn't well. It turned out that I had ulcerative colitis and my gut hadn't liked something in the morning after pill. We used protection, but it failed, by the way. That was in 2011. He contacted me in 2014 by email. At that point, I was having chronic widespread pain everywhere, and it had been going on since 2012, and the doctors were not listening to me. He asked me, how are you doing? Long time, and how was I? And I told him I didn't want to talk about it over email. So he asked if I wanted to meet up. Even though I was in pain, I kind of wanted to give him a copy of some creative writing I did about the pregnancy scare. She says, I wanted closure. I was young and wanted things that I was learning didn't matter. He stops responding and we never met up. Come 2021, he emails me again like nothing happened. My response was one word: seriously? So he says, yeah, I know it's out of the blue, but your name popped up in my email and I wanted to see how you were. She says, I told him that I don't know in what universe he's living in that he thinks I remotely would want to after everything that happened. I was convinced he didn't know how badly he treated me. I unloaded about the pregnancy scare and that I have chronic illnesses that were just showing up during the pregnancy scare. He wrote me back a long email telling me I was completely right and that he had never considered how I felt and thought about things. He would like to be in contact now. He was sorry and he didn't like anyone thinking ill of him. She says, me being the sucker I am, told him I wasn't over wishing him ill and I hoped him and his family was okay, but I can't deal with him in my life unless he was super upfront about what he was hoping out of this single conversation about what went down between us. And I added the poem because he was used to reading my writing after class, and he asked if I wrote anything about him, and I would show him. He seemed like he had grown up, but it wasn't until he completely ignored the fact that I had said I needed one conversation about what happened, and that he told me he wanted to stay in contact, but I wasn't allowed to talk about what happened. I'm ashamed to say that was the point I blew up at him. I said what I needed to say, and I'm glad to say I haven't heard from him. I only wish that I had stuck to my intuition before any of that happened. She continues with the people I let in, I can be incredibly forgiving if they actually are willing to have a calm conversation about what happened. After over a decade of dealing with chronic illnesses and brain fog, I know myself to know that I don't want to be having yelling and screaming types of conflicts, but I do want to have calm conversation so the people in my life understand me and I understand him. She ends it by saying, I just sort of expect he will resurface in a few years, and I'm going to end the story time. So, so there are several things I'm sure she would like to have taken back, but I want us to use this as a cautionary tale and things that we are not doing anymore. We're not allowing these pests to play in our face. If they keep magically losing your number, magically just block them and stop engaging with them. This was before, we have been on these social media streets telling folks to block, 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 block. This woman had an autoimmune disease or has an autoimmune disease, and she said that something in that medication hurt her. I'm wondering if this exacerbated her autoimmune issue or if it helped push it to the forefront. And all of this stress just helped exacerbate her health condition. I don't know, but stress can trigger health issues. So leave these MFers alone if they are stressing you out. Stress is not good for your health. So use this. I mean, I know that she was telling her story, but there have been times when a lot of us have allowed these MFers to play in our face a little bit, but we need to get better about leaving them alone, blocking them, and saying, F that, and making sure that they have no contact. Go no contact with these people. They are not worth the stress, your time, your energy, your effort. Leave them alone. All right. So that was the story time of Paul the Pest. Y'all jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like,